Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know the drill. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Alrighty, I'm not going to be doing as many videos later this week. My schedule is just totally not messed up, just I'm going to be really busy. So I'm going to probably do videos more next week. Maybe do a video tomorrow. Now, in today's video, I'm going to get into a topic that some people may not like, but once again, I'm not here to pander to anyone. I tell you what I think. That doesn't mean I'm right, but once again, I'm not going to be shy for speaking my mind. So, yesterday on eBay, I saw this 2019 Panini Contenders, and in that draft class, obviously Kyler Murray has been doing the best. And I'm looking at the sale of this item. Someone bought 12 of these, and total cost with sales tax maybe a little over $5,000. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, each one's about what, $416. And here's the thing about modern cards. Obviously, there's an excess amount of supply. But I'm just looking at quarterbacks. I look at quarterbacks intensely because obviously it's the alpha. A lot of people want to collect, and they tend to hold the highest value out of all of the other players out there compared to the wide receiver, compared to the running back, the defensive end, linebacker, etc. I mean, unless if it's someone like Walter Payton, you probably don't want to own any other card besides a quarterback for investing purposes. For collecting, I get it why people want to buy other players. But I'm looking at this, and I've talked about this before. And Kyler Murray, first of all, he is 5'10. Average quarterback that tends to do well is about 6'3 to 6'5. So that's one thing. And his Wonderlic score, I look at really intensely. The Wonderlic score of Kyler Murray is 20, and an average Wonderlic score is 21. And usually you want to have a quarterback that has an above average Wonderlic score. That doesn't mean a quarterback won't do well, but just from a historical perspective, the higher the Wonderlic score the last 20 some years or so, the better the quarterback's going to do. So we got Kyler Murray, low Wonderlic score. He isn't that tall of a dude. Yes, he's having a phenomenal year. Yes, he's a great athlete. I saw that he used to play baseball one year when he was in college in the outfield. So he's definitely a great athlete. Let's not take anything away from him regarding that. But me just putting money in players that are really new or that are young just because we've seen excellent young quarterbacks a few years. We've seen Lamar Jackson, we've seen Josh Allen, and the list goes on and on. Herbert, you could say that. And the thing is, Murray, like I said, doesn't fit the mold of a quarterback that has a high Wonderlic score, isn't that tall. So my thesis in the coming years, it may not be next year, but 2, 3 years from now, the league's going to catch up to him, and he's going to have to make adjustments, and he's going to probably have more injuries. And for a quarterback that's reliant on running, that's going to hurt you down the road. And someone like Russell Wilson, yes, he does run, but he can't run as much as he can because, number one, you're going to get hurt. And he got hurt this year, but this was, I think, a pinky injury. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Pinky or thumb, I forget what he got injured. But as you get older, you're going to get injured and you can't rely on your running game. And you're going to see this, in my opinion, the same thing with Lamar Jackson. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, I was looking at some comps of some of the sales I saw in PWCC. Someone paid $65,000 for a Lamar Jackson card. It was a really scarce card, an autograph card. It was a great card. But at the same time, it was at the top at $65,000. And now he has an ankle injury. Is he going to be doing so hot in the future with a bad ankle where his game relies on running? Because that's what he was great at a few years ago. And in my opinion, the dumb money is going into modern. Now, people may not like that because some of you guys may be invested in it, but I look at, for instance, the stock market. In the stock market, there's smart money and dumb money. I used to be dumb money a lot of the times. So when the market was selling off like crazy, I used to, short the market. That was really dumb. So I learned over time in a bull market, you want to buy all this fear. And this doesn't necessarily relate to all cards when it comes to buying fear. I saw some comments about that. I'll probably explain more about that in future videos. I like to buy fear of basically goats. If there's extreme bearish sentiment, I want to buy that. But going into this, so I'm seeing, okay, people are buying boxes of Murray, paying 400 some bucks for his case, and they bought 12 of them. And I'm thinking, okay, this guy may be a dealer, which, okay, he may be betting that the Cardinals may be doing well in the playoffs. They could, but at the same time, I'm just looking at statistics from the past, and the guys with the low Wonderlic score in the last 20, 25 years that have done well, like won a Super Bowl, it's Brett Favre, his Wonderlic score was 22. You had Trent Dilfer, his Wonderlic score was 22, but he had a stacked defense when he was with the Ravens. So that's what I'm just looking at. People could still make money, don't get me wrong about that, but this is something that I don't feel comfortable with. And I'm just looking at some of these older boxes. I looked at the 1998 playoff contenders with Peyton Manning, and one thing that I noticed was that box had 200 autos, and I thought to myself, why aren't people buying this? Because auto PSA 10, the 10 and a 10, or a BGS 9.5 and a 10, those sold for tens of thousands of dollars. And I'm thinking, why aren't people buying these boxes? I asked my wife about this. I said, like, why are people buying the 2019 boxes versus, the 98? She mentioned that, okay, what if there's a limited amount of these cards and they've already been taken out? So basically, they've been graded. And then I looked at the pop reports. I looked at PSA's pop report. I looked at BGS and SGC. And I'm coming to a number about 200 cards got graded. Obviously, not all of those cards have been graded because what happens is people crack the case and then resubmit it. So it's not really 200. It's a little less than that. But at the same time, there's no reason to buy the box. So I could understand why people may not buy that box. But then I'm looking at other players. Like if you want to look at maybe an Aaron Rodgers, the 2005 playoff contenders, and there's about 530 cards that are autoed, and only 430 cards based on SGC, PSA, BGS have been graded. A little more than that, maybe 440. But once again, people may crack it and resubmit. Some people may just have it in a lockbox, ungraded, and they're going to send it out one day. Regardless, I'm just looking at some of the auctions for that, sealed, right? And that's about 1,300 bucks. And I'm looking at, okay, just from a long-term perspective, I get, okay, someone may try to flip and they do well in the playoffs. What if Kyler Murray gets to the Super Bowl? Okay, then that $415 speculation may work. But I'm just looking just long-term, right? I'm more long-term with these type of trends. And, or I like to look at buying cards from investing perspective from a longer time frame. That's how I got into the investing side in 2018. I didn't expect that I'd be selling all these cards in 2-3 years. I was shocked and still am. And I'm looking at some of these bids for these boxes, sealed boxes for 2005, And playoff contenders obviously is one of the top boxes out there from that time. And those boxes sealed like bids $1,300, $1,200. And this was what, a few weeks ago on eBay. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you just paid maybe 800, $900 more, yeah, it may be a lot for some, but Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, some people in the media may not like the fact that he's anti-establishment. He doesn't really go on the media too much compared to his buddy Pat McAfee and I believe AJ Hawks with McAfee on that show. And then some of the comments he made about the jab. So the media may not like Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just looking from an investor perspective. I'm thinking like, why aren't people like putting that hot money into something like Aaron Rodgers unsealed boxes versus, some of these new guys? And maybe it's because they're younger, they may have more potential. But then I'm thinking about just quarterbacks in general. I'm thinking, okay, from a height perspective, Kyler Murray isn't the taller dude, isn't the tallest guy out there. And I'm not bashing him that he's a short quarterback. I'm just analyzing. And like I said, his Wonderlic score is on the low end. So, from a probability perspective, for me investing, this is something I don't want to touch, right? Maybe I may buy a Kyler Murray card in the offseason to, for a short term sale, but that's not going to be too much of my not speculative, but my investment portfolio when it comes to cards. And when I just see this type of behavior, it makes me come to a conclusion, and a lot of people will agree. Some of it may be basic for you, some of it may be common sense. But the reality is, a lot of dumb money, in my opinion, is going into modern rather than, some of these safer cards that people could have bought a few years back. People were throwing down $22,000 I saw for a Ben Simmons auto rookie card, 2017. And now, I mean, look what's going on with him, right? Is that card worth $22,000? Not in my opinion. And, like I said, that Lamar Jackson card, is that worth $65,000 when people could have spent maybe a couple of grand for that just when he came out of the league? I mean, he wasn't the highest pick out there. So, yeah, that's what I think. It's just that people right now, and I've talked about Zion, a lot of hot money is going into Zion. And my personal taste, I don't want to touch Zion. He could be a decent player. Maybe in the offseason I could take a dabble, but I want to see more fear in this. And some people may say that no, just because he's overweight and just because he has some setbacks, this may be a good time to buy. Okay, that's your thing. But just my personal preference, I'm not going to get into that. Like when I go into cards, I try to get top tier guys. Like from a few years ago, I was buying Brady, I was buying Manning, I thought Breeze at the time, from a Hall of Fame perspective. And then other sports, I was buying some Jordan cards, not his rookies. Jeter, Scherzer, Kershaw, etc. I was buying all of that, like first ballot Hall of Fame guys. Verlander, list goes on and on and on. And I understand, it may be fun. It may get the heartbeat going. It may get your adrenaline going buying modern cars to see, oh man, this guy's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. But out of all these guys, it's going to be hard for a guy to be like Patrick Mahomes. And speaking of Mahomes, like in a few years, when Tyreek Hill gets older and Kelsey gets older, and they're going to have probably salary cap issues as well. So that's something to look at. I mean, Russell Wilson had issues after that great defense. They paid him a lot of money, and now they can't give him the players because guess what? He's taking a huge part of the cap. So this is the thing with the league too, is okay, Kyler Murray, if he does well the next few years, then he's going to have to deal with the fact that salary cap issues. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. I know some people may not agree, but do you agree with my assessment? Dumb money is going into modern, rather than if some of these goat guys, from a few years ago. That Bowman Chrome PSA 10 was only a few grand. I wish I went back and bought that. I think I lost an auction by a few $100. But or I think it was the non-Bowman Chrome. It was the just PSA 10. I lost the auction by a few $100, or like I was in second place. If I just bet a few $100, that $1,400, $1,500 investment could have turned into 10 grand. But I still bought some Brady's. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Comment down below, guys. Thanks. Bye.